Welcome back to 10,000 Miles. In this episode, I welcome back Ray Chargualaf. He's an endurance athlete and an all-around amazing guy. And I recently saw on LinkedIn that he ran a 129-mile run. So after having him on back in the summer, I reached out to him and said, what are you doing over there? I got to hear all about this run. And I scheduled him to come tell us all about it on the podcast. And I said to him before we started, hey, Ray, give me the name of this race that you ran because I'm going to want to do the research and understand training. He goes, oh, no, there was no race. This was the Ray plan, the Ray race. So you're going to hear about his planning, his adoption to different routes and being adaptive along the way, how he built a team, how he got support, who supported him, how they supported him, and just hear this dedication and this grit to doing things that people think would otherwise be impossible. And by the way, his guiding light was state edge to state edge. He wanted to find a route that took him from the one part of the state to the next. And so you're going to hear all about this tonight. I'm excited to bring it to you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's dive in to Ray Chargualaf. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We are back with our guy, Ray Chargualaf. I should say my guy. What an inspiration you are, man. I'm so excited to have you back on this episode. How are you?
And you know what? I'm doing a lot better than I was a week ago. So doing great.
So I follow Ray pretty intently now since he's been on the podcast. Ray's got an amazing story, and I'm a big supporter and fan of all his intensity. And then I see this picture on social media. It literally looked like Ray was sitting on the moon. I'm like, where'd he go? It's crazy. And I didn't know you were preparing for a 129-mile run. I knew none of the details about it. And I think I posted a comment. He ran so far, he ran to the moon. Because you're sitting in that chair and you were in this rock and the stars there are millions of stars behind you. So Ray, it's good to catch up with you again. And this episode is going to be completely about this run that you did. So I know you've run 100-milers before, and you've had some struggles and then had your victories and done those things. But I want to jump right in. I'm going to start with the very first question, Ray.
Okay.
What the heck inspired you to say, I'm going to run 129 miles?
Well, it really wasn't the distance itself. The inspiration, to answer your question was, I've done 100-mile races, and I had a fascination with it because I never knew that was even a possibility for myself, just because, like my background isn't running. And so every time I completed one, of course, like, it was almost like another medal, onto the chest here. So yeah. I felt like, what's something that's going to inspire me to just take it to the next level? So outside of just the distance itself, I wanted to find just a bigger purpose. And so,
okay. So challenge, you were looking for something to sort of add to your definition of who you are.
Correct. And, there's a saying that I follow and I stand by and I believe is, if your goals don't scare you, you've never set it high enough. Okay. So now thinking about this next run, to be fair, like I was thinking about maybe I'm going to try a more prominent 100-miler or longer at another state or something that's, like I said, just different, because I've done 100-mile races and I just needed to find that sense of purpose again, as far as why am I doing this to my body? Like I need to find a bigger reason outside of can I do it? So yeah. So the inception was about 2 years ago. On that quest of doing 100 miles, I was still living on Guam, which is obviously where I'm from. And I said, you know what? I want to run from the tip of the island to the southern tip. So from the northern tip to the southern tip. Okay. And that was around about close to about 40 miles, which at that time again, this is obviously prior to the 100-mile runs. I was like, man, just to do that, and that's a feat within itself. So
Totally.
when I did it, people weren't really impressed with the miles. Same thing with me. Like, I wasn't impressed with the miles, more so than, man, I ran from one end of the island to the other. So when I retell that story to people that are from the island, they're like, man, I don't know how you did it. I don't know what made you think about doing it. But so I was thinking along those lines. And, again, I was thinking about doing runs outside of the state, just finding different 100-mile or even just ultras, or whether it be 150, 200-mile runs. And so I just said, you know what, let me just look on Google Maps from one state to another state. Like, what is that distance?
Okay.
So, of course, at this point, the pot is churning. I'm trying to come up with different ideas. So I said, you know what, the bordering city that's between California and Arizona is called Prim. So I said, let me start with that city, and then let me go all the way to Arizona, which is the last city in Nevada is called Mesquite. So I said, let me just go from Prim to Mesquite, and I Googled it.
Let me Google
sure
that
enough,
while
it was
you're
about
doing this.
It was about 125 miles, 127, something around that effect.
So sorry, where'd you start off again?
So if you just Google, I just Google mapped from Prim, Nevada.
Okay.
To Mesquite, Nevada.
Directions to Mesquite.
Correct. And again, which is the border of California to Arizona. I'm sorry, California to Nevada, and then Arizona to Nevada.
Shows up for me as 123 miles.
There you go. So, and obviously that's within a car. That's a car.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And you, did you start in Mesquite or did you start in Prim?
So the goal was to go from Prim, so California border, all the way to Mesquite, which is the Arizona border. So
man, through Vegas.
All through Vegas. So that was the that was it. That was the inspiration. I said, you know what? If you were to say like what you did in Guam, like, wow, you ran from one tip to the next. What if you were to go from state to state? And that was like, dude, that was it. Like, I was hooked. Like, that idea was, it just kept reminding me of like this whole process of the 100-miler. Like, is it even possible? Like, could you go state to state? You know, and so, and I just,
did you map out elevations along the way?
No, I didn't care about all that. I just said,
you didn't care. Do you know what the elevation changes were by chance?
Man, no idea. I couldn't even tell you.
Was it uphill both ways?
Yeah. So you know what? Because when you drive, right, you don't realize like the elevation changes, like you're mentioning.
Yeah.
And then just now, obviously within recent memory now, after doing this run, you come to find out like Nevada or Las Vegas, this southern Nevada is very mountainous. Like, there's a lot of elevation changes, and so I want to say I probably did about at least 30 to 35 miles of climbing.
Holy cow.
Within that 129-mile duration, there was at least 35 miles of just mountainous terrain, weather changes. I mean, we'll get to that during the rest of the pod. But yeah, as far as the inception, to go back to your initial, just inquiry, I was like, you know what? State to state, that was it. That was the obsession at that point.
Dude, I just ChatGPT'd. What are the elevation changes? So first of all, it says that you start at 2618.
Okay.
And you end at 1601.
But
along the route on Interstate 15, there are ups and downs, valleys, passes, and straight slope. I mean, this is challenging. This is not a flat run, and it's not downhill run.
No, not at all. Yeah. And so there's actually more to the story now on how the 129, why it's obviously lived more than anticipated.
Yeah.
So leading up to the run, right, we're talking about maybe about 2.5 months out. Obviously, I'm preparing for it. I'm training for it. So I decided to actually, it's not, like I said, I've done that route many times, right, in terms of driving. Never visualized what it would take to actually run it, because you got to remember, whenever these ultra races are organized, they're kind of in the middle of nowhere because they want you to, have like, obviously safety is a big issue.
Yeah, sure.
So being alongside the like pretty much one of the busiest interstates in the whole state, I was really concerned about the logistics. Like, is there even a shoulder for us to go by?
Wow.
And then even if that shoulder does exist, is it going to be large enough for us to, be next to the main highway? So here we are, we're driving along the interstate. And let me tell you, the first maybe 20 miles, we have to go about maybe 200-300 yards away from the freeway because there's just a lot of obstacles that are in that area. So I said, you know what? This is during the daytime. I got to factor in that we're going to be running at night as well. So I'm looking at just pure, like literally zero visibility and so many different just challenges within the terrain. So I was already thinking just the initial 15 miles of us starting, we're already going through some challenges. And then as we get to, the more populated areas, maybe about 20, 25 miles in, I actually live in the first exit heading towards the city. So now when we're getting into an area that I'm familiar with, I'm like, okay, I know these pathways. There's an actual shoulder that's designated for bikers, so we can obviously use that. So for the next maybe 60 miles, we're clear. The last 25 to 30 miles of the 123 that you mentioned, we're talking about there's so many ravines and just like canyons where I didn't realize the freeway is actually on a bridge where because of that ravine, we're talking about 500 plus drop-offs. So there's no way that we can actually go around the bridge to make it to the opposite side of the freeway.
Yeah.
So essentially we actually have to be on the freeway where the shoulder between the cars and yourself is no more than an arm's length away. So I'm like, man, we're going to run into some major problems here. And then, so here I am, like I said, I'm quote unquote, I'm the race director because this is my race. Let
me just jump in with something real quick because if people haven't figured this one out yet, when I saw that Ray did this, I immediately reached out to him like, dude, you got to come back on the podcast. Everybody has to hear about this. It's so spectacular. And I said, hey, great. We set a date. And I said, hey, do me a favor. Send me a couple of links to the race you ran so I can do some really good research on what's going on. And you go, Vic, there's no links. There's no links. I made this shit up all on my own. I'm the race director. I'm the route planner. I'm the logistics guy. I'm the water station guy, the aid station guy. Like I did all this. I'm like, oh, you're a maniac. I can't wait to talk to you about this. So folks, you're hearing now, we're jumping into, you had all these hats on. So you had to look out for your own safety. You had to look out for your own aid. You had to map the plan, the time of day, all of this stuff. Continue to take me through.
Yeah. So, again, we were just faced with some challenges outside of just the 129 or 123 mile run.
Yeah.
So, man, I was just thinking like on my way back home, to be honest with you, there was a little bit of defeat because now is this even possible? Because logistically it's a nightmare, right? So I just started to just kind of brainstorm. And again, if you really wanted to do something, like, is this a legitimate reason to back off? Absolutely. Because now our safety is in jeopardy.
Yeah.
We're talking about between mile 90 to mile 110. Not only do you have to have complete awareness of what's going on because of being on the actual shoulder of the freeway, but I actually had to call up Nevada Highway Patrol and say, is this even a possibility? And they're like, unfortunately, to be on the freeway is illegal. So as a pedestrian, you don't even have the right to be on there, let alone if you were to break down. That's why there's all the, again, things start to make sense. Like, alongside the freeway, there's like distress phones where if you have any issues, obviously you can, make calls because they don't want you to be on that freeway for so long.
No way.
Because of just a safety hazard. So again, I was at a state of panic. I was like, okay, well, this is a reason to back off, legitimate reason not to do it. And so between my family, my wife particularly, my parents, pretty much anybody that was in the know that we were about to do this, they were stressed out. They were like, why can't, 100 miles already is tough. Why can't you just do a race that's already organized? Because now it eliminates a lot of this planning and the unknown. And I said, no, there has to be another way. And so essentially what I did was, instead of going essentially from like point A to point B,
it's okay. It's part of the gig, buddy.
All right. I think we're back.
Now people know this is some live stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Just so if you ever wondered if 10,000 miles is overplanned, we go for it on this channel.
That's it. Right. So, hey, like always, we pivot. So, but yeah, going back to the run, we were faced with some pretty big challenges, and I just decided, instead of going from literally, if you look at like what you mentioned, from Mesquite to Prim, it's a straight line. All right. So we decided to make an L in terms of our route. So again, defeated, but never count us out.
Yeah.
With that slight kind of pivot in route making, we actually, if you want to Google it, it's actually our starting point. We then decided to do is called ET's Fresh Jerky. It should be in a town near Alamo, Nevada.
ET, like extraterrestrial?
Correct.
ET Fresh Jerky.
And then just type in like Alamo, because that's the name of the city.
Oh, so you went north to south and then over.
And although that also being another major freeway, it's not as busy as the 15.
Okay.
So again,
let's see if I put it, it's 130 miles by foot.
There you go. That's it.
130 miles by foot. Oh, I see that you didn't come down the car path, which would have put you on, what is that road there? 93.
Yes, that's exactly where.
Did you come on 93 or no?
We were on the 93 as well.
Okay, because I see this here. You got a bunch of different routes. We'll have to go through these, and I'll share a screen with you. We'll figure it out. But all right, so you changed the starting point. You went north, southwest.
Correct. So we still stuck with the same theme, meaning what does it take to get from state to state? Yeah. And then again, just from a logistics standpoint, what's going to be a safer route? And although on paper it sounded all nice and like we had it all figured out, confidence was back again. Like, listen, we're going to do this. Man, it was I felt like a part of me died out there. I'll be honest with you. I mean, there were so many different, just reliving some of the moments that were challenging. It just comes to think like we really were dealing with like an act of God to know that we made it through with no issues. I mean, just one example, we go into this again. We're so far out of city limits. You got to remember, Nevada or Las Vegas in general, pretty dry. Yeah. Obviously, the landscape is desert. We're in that area. It was lush green with lakes. Wow. Yeah. So great, great spot for camping, but that's how far removed we were from city limits. Like, we were, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 1 or 2 counties away from where we were at. So
that's incredible.
Yeah. So, case in point, in terms of just from a safety standpoint, it's our first night. During our first night run, we were so close to the freeway that we're like, okay, let's just take an alternative route, because it's alongside the freeway, but it's again, it's very rural. So as we're going into this kind of like farmland area, we just hear like a lot of, dogs barking. So we're thinking, okay, we obviously know that we're in an area that we shouldn't be at, because clearly, like, these, when I'm thinking like rural countryside, at that point in my head, I'm just going through like, these people are probably taking law into their own hands, because they call, for help. It's going to be about an hour away. So I'm sure they're protecting their land, and they have all these different security measures just in case something happens. So right away, I'm like, man, dogs are barking. We're being chased. And I don't know if that's a signal of where people can come out and they're like, listen, why are you on my property in this private road? And essentially that's what we end up finding out, that we were in a private access road just for residents. Yeah.
You were.
And you got to
remember. For how long?
Maybe about 12 miles.
12-mile private access road.
And you got to remember, it's pitch black. And like I was mentioning, ET, extraterrestrial. So we were covered, and we had neon green vests that lit up, right? So when you just see 3 random people in your private road, like at 2 a.m, pitch black, dogs barking, like that's kind of some cause for like there's something going on that shouldn't be going on.
Totally. So, wow, that's so weird.
So your senses are heightened. And again, it was just one of those things where like, man, I never would have thought this would even be a scenario, because I've never had to encounter that in previous 100-mile races, let alone like now.
It's all mapped out. It's all planned. And if they were going to run on a private access road, they would have gotten permission in advance, and everybody would have known what's going on.
Exactly. Right? So, and like I said, that's just one thing that we had to be aware of, that we're like, wow, okay, listen, like I think we're better off on the freeway. So we actually decided to scratch that route altogether.
Okay.
And after the initial 12 miles, we got back on the freeway, which is its own challenges within itself,
Ray, you sparked a funny story that I just remembered. You mentioned, hey, you're not allowed to be on the highway, right? Not allowed to run on it.
Yeah.
Many, many, many moons ago, I lived in New Jersey, and my buddy said to me, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, I don't know. What's going on? He goes, weather's supposed to be unbelievable. And in Belmar, New Jersey, there's the St. Patrick's Day sort of festivities. That happened to be my birthday.
Okay.
And he goes, why don't we go? But why don't we ride bikes there? I lived a good while. Like by car, it was probably, I don't know, 45, 50 minutes. And we weren't cyclists by any stretch of the means. So a couple-hour ride, on the bicycle. And we took what we knew to be all the back roads to get there. And so we go there, we had a beer or two, right? Nothing crazy. And we were ready to split. And I said, hey, we're taking a different route home. I go, we're getting on I-195.
Here we go.
And he goes, really? I go, yeah, dude, the shoulder on that's like, it's like 2 cars wide. It's totally fine. And it's uphill and then it's downhill, but we're going to cut like a lot of miles off of the trip. We're going to get home a lot faster. So boom, we get on 195. And dude, I'm on like some cheap 10-speed bike. Ooh, we're grinding, this was 30 years ago, if not more, 35 plus years ago. And all of a sudden we're, get off the highway. You're not allowed to be around. The cop was behind. There's a state trooper behind us. And then he pulls over and he goes, are you guys idiots? What are you doing? You're not allowed to ride bicycles on this highway. I go, we didn't know. He goes, get off the next exit. I go, that's our exit. He goes,
that's hilarious.
And we didn't even stop. Wow. We didn't even stop. He just came up alongside us because the shoulder was really big. We're pumping. Yeah. He's like, are you guys idiots? You're going to get killed. So it was that day we learned that pedestrians and bicycles are not allowed on state highways.
Yeah.
Oh, it was funny.
You know what? That actually brings me up with our own, story, very similar, where along that same highway, we're about, I want to say 75 miles in already. So you got to imagine, like, we're obviously a shell of ourselves at this time, right? Our pace is not the greatest. We're trying to trek to our next major aid station, and sure enough, we get the blue and red lights on.
Yeah,
and they come over to us, and it was actually a pretty pleasant encounter.
Okay,
state trooper came along, and it was like, hey, we actually had 3 distress calls regarding you guys on the freeway, and I'm just stopping by to see, like, what's going on. Are you guys all right? And I was like, you know what? Believe it or not, officer, we're actually here by choice. We're doing a 100-mile run, and I told him where we started, and we're about to reach a pretty major landmark, and he thankfully, enough, he was pretty, he was just expressing his concerns. Like,
Yeah,
listen,
of
I just wanted
course.
to check if you're okay. We've had a lot of people stranded in this area. And from where we started to where we were trying to get back into the city limits, there's about a 75-mile radius where there's no gas station. Pretty much there's no aid for help. So if you run out of gas, need food, stranded, there's no major stop or there's no major rest area. So
Man.
in that pass, again, I probably would, maybe next time, or if there is a next time, we would do it to where at least every 10 to 20 miles, there's some kind of either restroom, gas station, anything that's going to help at least give us some kind of support. So it was, like I said, there were so many different challenges. And I think that the biggest factor that we didn't consider again is because of just all that elevation gain that we mentioned earlier. Let me tell you, the wind, you can literally angle yourself 45 degrees
I
forward,
know.
and the wind was
Pushing you
so
back. It's
strong,
crazy.
it could actually hold you up. So
I used to ride motorcycles a lot. When I lived in Colorado, we'd go up to Sturgis.
okay,
And we were coming back through Wyoming. And the winds in Wyoming are just completely insane.
yeah,
And the winds are going west to east. So
wow,
as I'm coming down Wyoming toward Denver, Ray, my bike was leaned like this so I could keep it upright. And it was
man,
going perfectly straight. I was like I had to lean into the wind,
wow,
and I was suspended by this wind. And then all of a sudden the wind stopped, and because we're doing 80 miles an hour. It's wind is no joke. The
yeah,
amount of
no,
resistance, and I'm on a powered motorcycle, fighting through that. You're muscling through that wind, man. That had to be a
it
beating.
was pretty miserable to say the least. And again, just one of those things that you don't anticipate experiencing.
Yeah.
And then when you're in that, you're in the fight, so to speak. Um, just to, I guess, paint a picture as far as what I was experiencing. So we experienced the wind, high winds, both day and night. So
Yeah.
just imagine during the day, right? You're thinking, okay, that's going to cool you down. We're fighting about 5 miles uphill. During that ascent going up, you have that wind, obviously, that you're fighting against. So as you're going uphill, your internal core temperature is obviously burning up because you're expending a lot of energy. Then you have the sun beating down on you. So now you're causing another, like internal and external heat that you're fighting against. And then with this 30, 40 mile an hour winds coming at you, your body's so confused as far as what temperature it
Wow.
should kind of prepare itself for. I end up getting a fever about 75, 80 miles in, where when we got to a point where we're actually at elevation, and then of course with the sun coming out, I think at the hottest point during our run it was about maybe 84 degrees. So for the most part, comfortable. But with that type of temperature, I had a hoodie and a jacket on. I felt like I was maybe 20. I mean, I was shivering with that. Yeah. So I was in bad shape for maybe about the last 15 to 20% of the run. And again, just reliving all these different moments, it really just showed how much resiliency it had to take to just not only just deal with the miles itself was obviously its own challenge, but between the kind of unbeaten path, the wind, dealing with my own health problems, and then there was a point in time where we ran out of supplies, so we didn't have any water or food for like maybe a good 3 hours.
What?
Yeah, it was challenging. And then by the time we got to city limits, it was almost like there was it was a double-edged sword. You felt relieved because wow, like you finally made it to where there's like civilization. But then just see from like afar, I mean, literally the city was this big, right? And when you see that, you're like, I have to actually get there and then go to the far end of the other opposite side of the city. So you felt this sense of, like I said, just victory because of how much you had to experience to get to that point.
Yep.
And you just realized real quick, I mean, reality set in and said, you still got about 12 more hours left,
Wow.
So
Incredible.
Yeah, no, it was a one hell of a ride.
Let's talk about the team for a little bit, like, because you keep saying we. So tell me what the setup was like. Did you have somebody in a follow car the whole time? Were they going ahead? And like, tell me how that worked.
So again, just because I was doing my own, like planning and everything, I reached out to as many people as I could, and I said, "Listen, I'm about to do this run. Who's in?" And I got a lot of there's no way. Screw you. I thought we were friends. Like, why would you invite me to something like this? But long and behold, after, putting some, planting some seeds and just putting the information out there.
Yeah.
I had a buddy of mine who, I'm going to shout him out. His name is Zach Tenorio, right?
Okay.
This guy has been with me for every major run that I've ever been on. So the flip side to it is that he had the intention of wanting to finish all the runs he had in the past, but never found what it took inside of himself to obviously complete the whole run. So to put in perspective, this was my 5th 100-miler. He's been through all 5. And the last 4, he participated in himself, whether he was crewing me, pacing me. And I said, "Hey, listen, you're one of my main supporters. Are you in?" And he just kept, there was a lot of, even before he even said a word, like you could feel like there was a lot of, I don't want to say doubt, because I always give people the benefit of the doubt, but I always felt like there was a little bit of fear, and a healthy amount of fear, because he's never finished a 100-mile run, let alone forget about the 100. He's doing a 129-miler. So he said, "You know what? Despite falling short in the past, I'm in." So I had one guy committed. And then I had another buddy of mine who, from Guam, this time a year ago, he came out and he did my second attempt at a 100-miler. And his name is Say Camacho. He came out, and him and his wife said, "Listen, we're so, just inspired by your journey and, where we've seen you to where you're at the moment. And we want to be part of it." So they actually flew out from Guam to come to Vegas just to participate in this run. So again, these are people that, along this whole journey, that you find like who really truly has your back if you need it, And so with these 2 individuals, they're the only ones that were game enough to not only just support the movement, but they were like, "You know what? I want to find myself in addition to what this whole journey is about with you." So, and I said, that's what I told him. I said, "You know what? Despite this being about, my run, my idea, my vision, even though this is a form of self-discovery, along the way, I've realized that you're gonna touch, inspire, motivate, push people that's in your circle to want to test themselves, and that's what it's all about." So,
you know what I thought you were going to tell me when you got people to sign up, and I envisioned you having 20 guys signing up for 5 miles each.
No.
With each of them being staged at a leg.
Yeah.
In these 5-mile intervals at all time of day and night, depending on when you're running, just so you had a mate.
For sure.
Like a running mate and somebody sort of moving with you the whole time at your pace.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever that pace was. But I love that you've inspired other people to really push it. But I think, there's something there potentially to think about, and, in the Ray races, like to get people to come on, like you map the course, you do this, I'm running it.
Yeah.
And you can choose a 3K, a 5K, a 10K, a 20K, and they're all start and stop points. But they have to run with you at your pace. You'll kind of be like Rocky running through Philadelphia.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to get you the gray sweatsuit and the headband like Rocky Balboa.
That's it, Man, that'll be a sight for sore eyes right there,
Or better yet, you'll be like Forrest Gump running across the country with all your followers coming behind you.
And that's what it felt like. I despite even with all the support that I was receiving, like I knew that I had a big responsibility, and that's what I take a huge pride in just taking ownership with anything I put my name behind or anything that I support or I endorse. listen, I give it with everything I got. And so I told my guys, I was like, you know what? I know that this is a huge task that we're about to take on, and just know that my number one thing is to keep us safe, to make sure that at all point, at any given time during the run, if anything goes south, like just know that if I'm there, if my heart's still beating, you're going to be taken care of. And so I think with that kind of, insurance, they're themselves and their loved ones were still worried and stressed, but they knew based on everything that they've seen me accomplish in the past that we support this. And so, so now that I had my crew, so to speak, we had a game plan. And then now, as far as the aid station is concerned, I said, okay, that's going to be a lot of gear to carry on if this is something that we're all just going to kind of take responsibility for. Thankfully enough, I had another buddy of mine who's been there. Granted, he kind of has a different role. He's definitely not he's into his health, but just not as involved as we are, right? So he said, you know what, I want to contribute, I want to help out, but why don't I be your paced car? So what that basically means is that during the entire duration of the 46-hour event, he basically would obviously start with us. He would carry all of our supplies, and then we mapped out each checkpoint along the way. So he would say, all right, we'll go ahead and I'll meet you 5 miles down, and I'll have a drone, and I'll basically be able to monitor where you guys are at. Because again, a lot of the portions are either unmarked or it was pitch black. So there's zero visibility. So at least with him tracking where we're at, he'll be able to radio communicate with us, say, hey, you guys are on the wrong path, or hey, there's a potential hazard along the way. Go ahead and make sure, be aware within a quarter mile that. So
you need that.
That was
vital
huge.
role.
I mean, you want to talk about
vital
MVP?
Totally.
That guy was our MVP. Yeah. So
vital role.
He that was just as stressful as the run itself, because imagine just hanging out there for 46 hours and your main goal is to be aware and attentive to the safety of 3 other people. So
if I were him, I would have had 2 more guys in the car. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to get 2 more buddies because this is going to require a village to do this.
And that way you can kind of take shifts, so to speak, like you're mentioning. So
somebody work the drone, somebody work the radio, somebody drive, rotate shifts, because that's vital. Because if you're not sharp looking out for potential hazards,
correct,
like you guys become an extra risk. So
yeah,
that's amazing. So did you have any sponsors? Did you get any or did you fund this entire thing yourself?
So you know what? Again, I did have some support, and
good.
It was the most humbling, it was the most just supportive thing I've ever experienced throughout anything I've ever been a part of.
Amazing.
And again, just because I've never, like I said, this is a non-sanctioned run. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to be able to verify whether we did it or not. I mean, that's the reality of it. They're going to take our integrity and our word, right? And of course, leading up to it, I said, this is something I've done in the past. I've done 100-mile runs. What makes this one different is that I want to make this about not having to worry about anybody, not having to worry about somebody else's timeline. So if an organization or an organizer makes it at this time of the day or this time of the year, listen, that's great because it works under their calendar. I said, you know what? I want something that's going to benefit my schedule, my timeline, my objectives. So, to kind of go back to your point, as far as who wanted to support. So I worked for Fountain Blue, as, you may recall. Fountain Blue heard about it and they were like, dude, are you nuts? Why would you even put your body through that? And is it even possible? And I said, not only is it possible, but I'm going to go from state to state. And there's nothing that I'm going to use, don't worry. You're going to see me, I'm going to take, paid time off. I'm going to come back strong. And the next day I'm coming back to work. I said, that's how confident I am in this endeavor. And they're like, okay, hold on, hang on. We want to support this. We just wanted to make sure that, you understand what you're getting yourself into. I said, I am completely aware. I'm sober. Yes, this is,
Yeah.
this is full consent under my own, authorization that this is something that I want to partake in. I'm not being forced. So long story short, they're like, what can we do to support?
Amazing.
And I said, you know what? You say that you guys want to get involved. I want to make Fontainebleau the highlight of this run. And so part of the whole process of running from, our distances or our routes is I wanted to make sure that Fontainebleau was a huge landmark or checkpoint so that I can show the support that they've given us for this race. Yeah. So Fontainebleau, quick shout out to Brett Muffson, the Sofer family, Colleen, Brooke, Jeff. They've been nothing but huge supporters of not only just me, what I do, for the organization, but just all these extracurricular things that are just, it just provides, in my opinion, more credibility to what the organization and my department represents. And I said, you know what, if this is going to help better me and better what I do here at work, for me, it's like, why not? Like, this is a no brainer that I want to do this. So they decided that, they want to be on board, and naturally, because they are very influential people.
Yeah.
It just so happens that exact same timeline or same week, I was discussing some of the details because I was still kind of fuzzy about all the information because I didn't know what the routes could be. Like I said, just all these uncertainties. So as I was going through some of the process of what I was gonna, what my ideal was, it just so happened that Tom Brady and his team was in our facility, and I see Tom all the time. Great guy. He, out of all the celebrities and high profile people, I feel like he's definitely probably the most down to earth, real easygoing person. And anyways, his team was in the facility, and I know his manager just, in passing just goes, Hey Ray, it's been a while. What's new? And I said, you know what? Funny you mentioned that. I said, I'm about to embark on this state to state run. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I'm going to be running over 100 miles, and he's like, wait, hold on. Like, are you doing it with the team where you do 10 miles and then the next guy does 10 miles and you do that until you reach your destination? I said, no, like, I am the team.
Yeah.
Like, it's just me and my sheer will and determination. That's it. And he's like, are you kidding me? And he's like, why? Like, dude, you're nuts. Right? Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this whole idea. And anyways, it just happened to be the right timing. He's like, you know what? I gotta let Tom know. We got to do something. And
amazing.
Again, sure enough, he's like, you know what? The least we could do is, Tom has his sports nutrition line, TB12. He goes, why don't I send me your address, keep in contact. I want to know how your training is going. I want to know up until leading up to the run and during the run, just keep me posted. I'm a fan. I said, listen, I'm a fan that you're a fan. Like, listen, I don't even need anything else outside of just your support. Right. And he goes, no, let's go ahead and, let's send you a care package. And long and behold, I gave him my information. I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect anything. Right. So, about a week or two later, my wife, gives me a ring and goes, oh, you have a package waiting at home. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll wait till I get home. And goes, yeah, it's from Tom Brady. And I was like, what? I go, wow, that was just a conversation in passing. I didn't know that there was going to be any substance to it. And before you know it, it was like a couple $1,000s worth of like his sports nutrition line. So it was like electrolytes, some recovery packs, some performance packs, and really it was an awesome gesture, to say the least. And so,
Ray, I'm not surprised in the least for two reasons, and I'll save the best one for last. I think Tom's reputation, I don't know him, I've never met him, but you read, and from what you read, he appears to be that kind of guy. He was always a great teammate on the field. That says a lot. Right. Yeah. Being a great teammate, looking out for his guys, all the little clips, like, got to get Gronk that extra pass because he's going to hit his bonus, like looking out for other guys.
Yeah.
But you is what's mostly not the surprise, because you are that guy. You have this demeanor and personality that attracts people because you're authentic. You're a genuine guy. You're instantly likable. And so I'm surprised there weren't 50 guys. Like if I were promoting you, we'd had 50 sponsors coming behind you.
Wow.
But I'm telling you, dude, you have that. You have it. And you should be proud of it, because I've met thousands and thousands of people in my life. Literally thousands and thousands. And there are a few handfuls of Ray Chargualafs, whether it be somebody who's an elite athlete or somebody who's elite at technology or elite business mind. Like I've come across a lot of these types. I'm not surprised. People, my short is, there's no surprise from me that people want to get behind you. You have that. I'm going to do it. And you're so convicted, by the way. You're so convicted. Like, I'm going to do this. Just because it sounds like a bad idea, it might not be. Like, I'm going to figure it out. Wow. So you got your team. I hear how you built that. You did this one. How long did this take start to finish? Number of hours,
46 hours.
Wow. Yeah.
So
hey, you beat Google, by the way, because Google said it should have taken you 48.
Oh, wow. Man.
You beat Google by 2 hours.
That's, you know what? That's, I didn't even know that. So that's news to me. But yeah, let me tell you, 46 hours, like just to even think about imagine someone told me, right, I just finished, we're like fresh off of completing it. I go into work and somebody's like, how long did it take? And they're like 46 hours. Like, I can't even sit on a plane for 46 hours, let alone move, Yeah. So they were, when you start to like reflect and think back, like how long it took and what it took for us to do it. Yeah, sometimes it's overwhelming, but I wouldn't trade that experience for the world. I'll tell you that much. I mean, I've had a little bumps and bruises, incredible. But it's my feet were trashed up. I could say right when that's always like the crazy unveil after every ultra is right when I take off my socks. Like my wife always kind of assesses what's the damage, and so surprisingly,
do you have any toes left?
Surprisingly, I usually have like 2 or 3 toenails explode. I only had one explode, so I was pretty proud of that. I broke my own record. Like I was like, wow. Usually I have 2 or 3. I only had one, so I felt pretty happy about that. I had a really gnarly blister. Like I had about maybe 15 people over when we were done, and they had a little small get together. And when I took off my socks, they brought out their phones and they just couldn't believe how gnarly my yeah. Oh my God. It was pretty.
How many pair of shoes do you go through? Do you wear the same pair for the whole run?
Yeah. So I usually bring up a backup, but for this one, the same shoe held up. But I actually have funny you mentioned that. I have a like kind of wall collection of all the shoes that I've used for all the ultras. So
that's great.
So I have five pairs just kind of as like I don't really carry a lot of trophies or medals. If anything, I give it away. So any of ones I've had in the past, I either gave it to my parents or to my sponsors who helped out. I gave them all the medals and accolades. I kept all the bibs because the bibs were always part of me.
That's cool.
That's the only thing that I cherish, just so that I can look back and say, man, that was part of me for this time.
Check this out, Ray. This is the picture I saw of you. It looked like you're on the moon. This is the greatest picture ever.
That was
46 hours. Hold on. Let me just get this question. 46 hours. Do you stop to sit? Do you stop to sleep? Do you take a rest along the way? Or are you moving for 46 hours straight?
So the longest we probably ever stayed stationary was, I would say, about 12 minutes.
Oh, holy cow.
Like where we just stopped and then, of course, just, chugged along. I always, and the main reason why is because I've had the experience of doing ultras already. Like the more you stop, the harder it is to get started again.
Okay.
And there's nothing at this point. Like at that point, I think for that specific shot that you just showed,
Yeah.
we were all taking turns because we when I saw one of my guys sitting down, he took a shot and it was an amazing shot. So we all had our moment to sit down and kind of have that like man on the moon moment, you know? So
Totally.
if I ever sat, like I said, no more than 10 to 12 minutes, and then we're back on the road. And it's just because I wanted this process to be done. Like, as soon as you start, we try to, again, there's certain clips of us where we're having a good time. It shows that we're still in good spirits, but deep down, like, you're going through some wars, man. You have this emotional roller coaster where you're questioning why you're doing it. You're questioning,
you ever start hallucinating? No sleep?
Oh, absolutely. All right, let me tell you, that's a common, like, if you don't hallucinate, then you haven't really experienced an ultra, to be honest with you. Like, it's part of the package, you know? Like, you're going to go through like heat exhaustion. You're going to go through temperature changes. You're going to go through chafing. You're going to go through blisters. You're going to go through, they call it trench foot. So whenever your feet get so wet, there's so many things that are the ugly side of it, so to speak. But
so many things that could stop you at any minute.
And they're valid.
Yeah, they could stop you at any minute. Trench foot could stop you. Chafing could stop you.
Yeah.
Do you have the Glide anti-chafe stuff? Or like, what do you guys do?
Yeah. So I do like, there's a thing called nut butter. Okay. We have, what is the other one that we've used? Let me tell you, I was taking ibuprofen just to kind of help reduce some of the swelling that I had.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was like an OD or a side effect, but I took like maybe like 2,000 milligrams, like within like a 6-hour time frame. Came to a point where
that's too much.
My stomach was so sensitive that when the wind touched it and then the fabric of my shirt hit my stomach, my abdomen, it hurt.
800 milligrams a day is the maximum allotted amount there, buddy.
2,000 milligrams within like 6 hours, you know? So
you ever see those methyl dose packs, the steroids, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the pills?
No, never seen it.
I'm going to take a picture of the box.
Okay.
You have to get this for the next run.
Okay.
Your doctor will prescribe it. And I've used it for sports injury or workouts. You tweak a back, I actually tweaked the shoulder. I just started taking one, doing something, but better than the ibuprofen. You take take the first day the first thing you take all 6 at once. And then the next day is 2 with breakfast, 2 with lunch, 2 for dinner. And then it keeps reducing until you get to the final day after 5 days. Talk about recovery, because it's a steroid.
Yeah.
The recovery is your entire body is going to feel amazing. And it is going to reduce inflammation so much faster than ibuprofen will. And it's not going to pound your kidney. It's not going to pound your stomach. And it's going to have a great effect on you. And this I was turned on to by my good friend who's an orthopedic surgeon.
Okay.
And so this wasn't me Googling some stupid stuff on the internet from a guy who thinks he knows what he's doing. This is a career, lifelong doctor of 40 years.
Okay.
And so he's like, there was a time in my life where I had gout flare-ups.
Okay.
Where I've literally, if I didn't take this steroid in time, I have to go to the hospital for morphine. That's how bad the pain is.
Wow.
But I swear by these things. I don't over abuse them. I might take them once or twice a year for extreme situations, but you should consider that. Talk to a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but talk to your doctor about that. I think that would really help you out.
I know. I appreciate that. I mean, any info along the way that's going to help. I mean, why wouldn't I explore that route? So I absolutely appreciate that.
So when you were done, did you go home and go to sleep? Like, what time of day did you finish?
So we finished, it's funny because we had all these plans right when we were done. Like I was mentioning, I had my buddy from Guam come out, him and his wife, were visiting. And, we always anytime we have visitors, we kind of just want to, of course we live in Vegas. So, hey, listen, what do you guys want to do? So we had this whole agenda, like right when we're done with the run, let's take a quick nap and we're back out and we'll go explore the town. Like that was literally the game plan. Right. And so, we finished around 3:30, almost 4 o'clock, between 3:30 and 4 p.m. at in the afternoon.
Okay.
And my parents came out for support. I had, again, some other people from Guam, and then I had a bunch of friends come over, and so they decided to just do a little small cookout. And when we were done, the plan was, it happened to be a UFC fight here in town that same day, or that same Saturday night. So, like, okay, let's eat. If we need to take a nap, and then let's go either watch the fights, or we can go somewhere to watch the fights and then just go celebrate the run, right? So everybody was still out and about. I was beat up. So I said, you know what, I'm going to take a nap. I got up like 2 hours later. Come to find out, like, the house cleared out. Everybody was down for the count, and I was like ready to go do stuff. And
oh my gosh.
My wife's like, can you just relax for like 5 seconds? I mean, you just got home and you want to go do something. I was like, man, these guys are only here for like another day and a half. Like, let's make the most of every second that they're here. And so naturally I went back to bed, and the next day, no joke, we went out, just did some touristy things, and then back on the grind. We ended up working out that same night. So
you're incredible, buddy. You really are.
So we're like,
you're an incredible.
I had to game plan. I said, you know what, our legs, so from the hips down, completely trashed. What does that say? Hey, it's not about what we can do, is what can we do. Let's work from the upper body up. So we just did from like core to upper body, and we had a blast. I mean, literally turn the page, on to the next. And I think that's kind of been my whole approach to life, is that, don't rest on what you did in the past. Like, what you did, albeit, it's an amazing accomplishment, amazing achievement. Tomorrow is a new day. Like, what have you done today? And so I wanted to kind of hound that point to my guys that came out, and like, they literally did 100-mile run for the first time ever. Like, that's a huge accomplishment for anybody. So I said, guys, listen, huge respect, but that was Saturday. Today's Sunday. What can we do to build on to the momentum that we created?
How old are you, Ray?
41.
I wish I were 41, and I wish I lived in Vegas, because I'd be your wingman. I would.
Hey, listen,
because back there in that age, I had it. I'm a long way from being able to run a 100-mile run, but I just saw a thing in the news today where an 80-year-old woman finished an Ironman.
Yeah.
80-year-old woman finished an Ironman. Take that in for a second.
You know what's funny that you mentioned that? My sister-in-law was in that same run.
Come on.
Like, no joke. And so her name is Ashley. Like, she's amazing. Like, I'm inspired by her just because she just embarked in this whole like fitness journey fairly recently, maybe within the last year and a half and 2 years. And she's been training for this Ironman. And she, coincidentally enough, she lives in the Big Island in Hawaii, and it happened to be hosted there. And she's like, you know what? She got an invitation to do it, and she just completed it. And so, man, hats off to her.
Hats off to her, right?
And it was the exact same run that 80-year-old completed it. So
that's incredible.
That doesn't surprise me that there's some amazing people. And that's why, you know what, I'm always humbled, because even though I do 100-mile runs, listen, I know people that do 200-mile runs. I know people that do 1,000-mile runs. But in those situations, everybody has their own journey. Like, what I've noticed with people that are doing these extreme events is that we're all going through some type of trauma, or we've experienced some type of trauma. Okay. And this is an outlet for you to take away that pain that you're feeling internally, and then put that from a physical state where now, like, things start to make a little bit more sense. If that kind of.
No, I get it. I understand. Yeah. I fully understand. So I asked you earlier, but I want the audience to hear. How much weight did you lose start to finish?
It's probably about 11 pounds. So 11 pounds
What a program. Hear that, audience? Right? You want to cut 11 you got a wedding coming up? Just go run 100 and some odd miles. You come back, your shoes won't fit for a week and a half, but it's okay.
Yeah, you look great from the waist up, you know. But,
yeah,
you know,
totally.
Everything from the waist down is going to be very questionable, to say the least. So, but yeah.
Oh man. Hey, for those, if anybody from the Fontainebleau is listening, to let you know the influence Ray has on your establishment, I'm going to be in Vegas soon, and not only am I staying at the Fontainebleau, I'm coming to see you for a stretch session. So I got to book that. Tony's been telling me you got to go to get stretched by Ray. It's unbelievable. I'm going to be stretched for the stretch and ready to go. And I look forward to, seeing you face to face.
I just to add on to your point. So obviously I appreciate you, considering staying with us. When we obviously connected with Coach Tony. Yeah. So the last time I saw him was obviously he was staying on property. Long story short, we connected about 3 months ago, and he was staying at another property on the Strip for another convention or conference. Yep. And, just to see what kind of person and character he is, he said, despite me staying at another hotel down the Strip, I'm going to come to Fontainebleau, work with you, just to catch up and obviously, get the services that first introduced us. So, I mean, you guys, between you and Coach Tony, you guys have been nothing but first class. And I just appreciate just having me on your platform.
Man, I appreciate you being on the platform. This has been an incredible thrill for me. I can't wait to see what you do next. And please give me a heads up. I don't know what I can do to help you. I'm sure there's something if we get creative. I'd come out on my own dime. I'd drive a car. I'd go the next 10 miles up. I love being a part of people who are pulling off what others may think are the impossible. If I had a little role, like handing out like the cups of water, I would do it. Maybe by that time I'd run a 5K or a 10K or a part of it. I'd do the last leg. I run it in with you or something. But, there's so much. I'm a big supporter. So thank you for coming on tonight. Congratulations, brother, because, man, you're an inspiring dude. Unbelievable.
I appreciate that. It's always a good time when I'm on here with you, Vic. So anytime.
Thanks, buddy. I'm going to stick around after. I want to talk about how I get on your schedule, but I'll be out there at the end of the month.
All right. Sounds great.
Cheers, buddy. Have a great day. Stay on. Don't touch. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.